On, guys, it's the Money Talk Show with Dane, where we talk about all sorts of interesting topics having to do with money. So, if you are interested in those topics, specifically real estate and crypto, which is what we cover here, then make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to bring you all sorts of killer content almost every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So, we're pumped to have you on. And we're going to cover some really important tools for using crypto today. Corey, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, this is Corey Geary, real estate investor, kind of switching over to full-time crypto investor. I got a YouTube channel also. You can follow us, both me and Dane, on either his or mine, which is Crypto Millionaires with Corey Geary. I'm sure if you just type in Corey Geary, you'll see it'll pop up for you. But yeah, man, just rocking and rolling during this bear market. I'm having a great time accumulating some good positions and going to continue doing so during this bear market, and want to teach real estate guys or whoever else, entrepreneurs and alike, to be able to have some exposure in this beautiful asset class we call crypto, because I really feel like we are in the right place at the right time right now. So, guys, yeah, this will be a fun show today, man. I'm excited.
As well. There's been a more recently, for instance, on Uniswap. If you're familiar with Uniswap, or if you're not, it's a tool that a lot of people use in crypto on the Ethereum network to swap between tokens. And there's been issues with how that front end has been working, how that website's been working.
Yeah.
And so today that prompted us to go through common tools that we use to navigate the Richard Heart ecosystem, tools we use to navigate crypto in general. And so whether you're a veteran or you're newer, I think this video could be useful for you to be able to potentially look at some new tools that maybe you're less familiar with. So we'll go through those today. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So let's start with Uniswap. Let's start with decentralized exchanges, since that's the place that a lot of people I know have been having trouble over the last few days. There's a common error that pops up that says that your gas is not being estimated properly, and I haven't been able to solve it yet, and I don't know exactly what to do to resolve that issue. So rather than banging our heads against brick walls, we just go to a different decentralized exchange. Now, Corey, what's a decentralized exchange other than Uniswap that you like to use?
Yeah, so that's a very good point. And what's great about DeFi is that anybody can go out there and build these tools and protocols on the blockchain for anyone to use. It's open source. People can fork a lot of this stuff. And it's just really cool because when one version of the front end goes down, someone else could spin something else up, or even add better and more creative features to that front end. And so Uniswap, like you said, it's a peer-to-peer decentralized exchange where basically I am trading tokens with you or whoever else is on that interacting with that blockchain, which is really cool. Like I said, it's decentralized, no centralized ownership. We love that because that's why crypto was invented. I just want to interact with you, and that's it. No middleman, please. This is what I like. And so, yeah, Uniswap is a good one, like you touched on. Another really good one that I just found out about it is CalSwap. And I just pulled it up here. The actual URL is swap.cal.fi. And I'll even spell that out for
Oh,
the
you got it.
audience.
You beat me to it. Perfect.
Yeah.
We just put it in the comments.
Right. I could put it in the comments too. That'd be a great idea. Let's do that. Copy. And we could put it here. That way, everyone who's going to use this front end is, going to the right place. So this is it here. Swap.cal.fi. What I really like about this, I haven't really used it much, except now recently I've started. It's like an aggregator, or what they call that. Where it grabs pricing from many different dexes. Like 1inch, which is another tool, another decentralized exchange, and Uniswap, and probably some others that I'm not even thinking on the top of my head. And then it kind of grabs the best price and it grabs out of those pools for you. And so it spreads the liquidity out. So you get a lot less likely chance of getting sandwich bot attacked on your order. And your slippage is typically a lot better with the swap.cal.fi. And where I found about this protocol was from actually the Pulse Bitcoin community. They rave about it in their Telegram, and they love it because with Pulse Bitcoin being such an early protocol, buying and selling it really either pumps the chart or wrecks the chart because it's not a lot of liquidity. And so they like pointing the community to that protocol, just because you're spreading that out, and you're gonna have a lot less likelihood of that slippage. And I'll let you kind of break down what slippage is to the audience, but I'll just try to. Slippage is just running the price up against yourself or down against yourself. I know you have a better way of kind of breaking it to a third grade level, and you probably should do that for the audience.
Yeah, sure. So anytime that you go and buy and sell crypto, you're moving the price chart against yourself. So when you're buying, you're getting a little less value when you're buying because there's this thing called slippage. And when you're selling, you're moving the price against yourself there. So you're getting you're always getting a little worse value for your dollar. And this has to do with the size of the liquidity pools being one of the main factors. And so think about it this way. We'll see if this analogy works. If there was two islands, say one island grew apples and another grew oranges, and you come along and you are a merchant and you say, gosh, like I bet these two islands would love to trade apples and oranges together. Well, you could go and you could build a bridge between the two communities and create a storefront in the middle where people could come and bring apples and oranges and trade them. Now, the key is you've got to have enough apples and oranges for it to make sense. And in this theoretical market, the price would move from apples to oranges depending upon how many you wanted to trade at any given time compared to the supply that's available. So if it were me, I would go and I would buy, let's say, 50 apples from the one community and 50 oranges from another. I would put them all in the market to get everybody a starting place, and then people could come and do that. And if people wanted to swap, a few apples, 5 apples, for instance, 3 apples for oranges and vice versa, we're not going to change the ratio a lot, the 50 apples to 50 oranges. That doesn't change it very much. And so the pricing doesn't move against you very strongly. However, if you brought a much larger amount, say you have 50, or not 50, but let's say you have half as many. There's, once again, 50 apples, 50 oranges. Let's say you have 25 apples you want to come and swap for 25 oranges. Well, there's just not enough to be able to support that large of a trade and give you fair value. And so as such, you would go and you could swap in the first few apples you're going to come and swap. You get good value for, but the value goes down more and more and more that you swap. And so maybe you brought your 25 apples and they're valued at $1 an apple, but you brought so many that by the time you do the complete swap, you actually end up with something more. And I'm just pulling these numbers out as an example. I don't know exactly how like the ratio numbers work and the math behind it, but essentially instead of getting $1 per apple, you might end up with
$1.10,
60 cents.
Or the opposite. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You're swapping them. So you actually might get 60 cents in value back instead of, per apple instead of $1 because you moved it so much, as opposed to, swapping 3 or 4 apples. Maybe instead of $1 per apple, you got like 95 cents per apple. You got better value because you were moving the ratio less. And so it's cool with CowSwap how it can go to other decentralized exchanges. It can check these markets, if you will, and it can find which ones have the best market to make it so that you get the best value for your crypto when you go and swap it. Maybe that was a great analogy.
It was a great analogy, man. I loved it.
it
You have a great way of just like kind of putting things in perspective with your analogies, man. That was great.
Cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what if the guy from the island B with all the apples comes and tries to buy all the oranges from the store? What's going to happen, right? You're going to lose all the value that you can buy from. So, and that's
they're going to get destroyed, right?
Depending how big the store is and how many apples and oranges are in that store is going to determine how much someone can come in and move that price back and forth, because it's just typical supply and demand type of I don't want to call it math, but it is math. But yeah, it's just typical supply and demand.
And
And
to your point, Corey, on these newer projects, there's just not a ton of liquidity. There's not a lot of apples and oranges to go and swap. And so early on, like in Pulse Bitcoin, well, maybe somebody has, 10,000 Pulse Bitcoin or 50,000 Pulse Bitcoin, but in the liquidity pool, I mean, there could be far less, like there could be in this example of apples and oranges, there could be USDC, which is a stable coin, and there could be Pulse Bitcoin.
yeah.
Well, maybe there's only 10,000 Pulse Bitcoin in there, and whatever the dollar value of those are. For our example, just keep it really simple. This isn't accurate of price today, but let's just say they're equal in value. So one Pulse Bitcoin equals $1. So you've got 10,000 Pulse Bitcoin and 10,000 USDC on the other side. But if you got 50,000 Pulse Bitcoin, well, there's not enough there at the market, if you will, to go and sell all of your Pulse Bitcoin. And so if you try to do 50,000 in that equation, you would get absolutely destroyed with that value when you went and swapped it. Yeah.
Wreck the chart.
Oh yeah, and you destroy the price chart. And so one of the best ways, we talked about this a little bit yesterday on the Hexray Vision show that we were on, or no, not yesterday. It was earlier this week. Yeah, with PulseStream, we talked about with PulseStream, where essentially, you have to be really careful about slippage and liquidity, and especially in the early stages of a new project, you have to be aware of that. And so, particularly, it's important to hold longer term. And you can use, version 3 of Uniswap when it's working properly. You can use that to exit positions more responsibly instead of destroying the price, destroying the market. In fact, let's run with this analogy. So if I'm using version 3 of Uniswap, I could go and say that at the market, there's 50 apples and 50 oranges, and I have 200 oranges that I want to go and I want to sell. Well, I could come to the market and I could say, hey, market, I have 200 oranges. I'm going to put them, say that the price is right here at $1, and that's where we're moving between. Well, I can put my oranges up on the one side of the equation and say, hey, as price moves, so essentially as people are moving the price towards the orange side, then they can come and they can dip into my orange bucket. And by doing so, I'm trading oranges for apples in this scenario. And as they do that more and more and more, well, I'm trading all my oranges for apples, and it doesn't destroy the price.
You essentially become the store.
Yep. That's a great point.
And you're going to set up your own little store and say, okay, I'm going to go in and be an entrepreneur here and sell these, but I don't want to go at the other store and destroy their supply. I'm going to create my own little store and then and have my own little supply and demand here, knowing that what I want to extract out in value, it might take a little time, but you could achieve the same goal without wrecking the price. Yeah.
Right. That was a great point. And so you could do all this on Uniswap once again when it's working properly by going and checking out the liquidity pools. In fact, you can even provide a little liquidity. That's what this is you're putting up liquidity if you want to swap it there in that scenario so that you don't destroy price. Now, I would recommend that when you go and try this out for the first time, like anything in crypto, try it out with a little bit. Don't bet a big, huge amount, just so you can wrap your head around it. If you make a mistake, you're mitigating risk, but just be like cautious and patient as you're testing out new tools.
And watch a lot of videos and do a lot of research on it if you're going to go and play with that a little bit. Yep.
Absolutely. Cool. We've got some people on, some of our newer guys jumping on. Simon's been on a number of the shows. Appreciate you jumping on, Simon. It's great to have you. We've got Doc Lover. I pronounced it correctly this time, so great to have you on. We've got the Harmonic Hexakin. Excellent to have you guys this morning. Appreciate you commenting. So yeah, in fact, those of you that are on right now, I'd love to know, are you using Uniswap primarily to swap between your pairs and your tokens, or have you used something like CowSwap or any others that we should know about? Love to know.
One in, another
so post them in
one.
the comments.
And then you could also use like Matcha. Matcha has a swapping, Matcha.xyz has a swapping protocol inside of it. And then also Matcha is really famous for its limit orders that you can do. And we had talked a little bit about that the other day too. You can set limit orders in Matcha. The only thing is if you be careful setting limit orders. If you only trying to buy $1,000 or $500, your limit order probably won't get filled because it respects the bigger orders first and then goes down the line. So if you obviously someone's got a $50,000 limit order in there and you got a $500 limit order, well, it's definitely going to take the $50,000 guy first and then work its way down the ladder before it hits you. So if you're trying to catch wicks, it's really hard with Matcha unless you got a pretty substantial mark. I would say well over 5,000. 5,000 is kind of like my benchmark where I'm like, okay, I'm going to set a limit order. 5,000 above, I think you got a good chance of getting filled, but anything under 5,000, it can be tough just because the way it's an order book. It's an actual order book, and they respect the order book by the size of the economic energy that's submitted into the order book.
Correct. Right. So when you go, and Corey nailed that one. So if you are patiently waiting, for instance, and you think, let's go with Hex. You think Hex is what? I think it's at like close to 2 cents this morning. I hadn't looked at the price chart today yet. But let's say that Hex is at roughly around 2 cents, and you think it's going to go lower, and you want to sit and wait without sitting and waiting and staring at the screen to try to catch the price. You can set a limit order at a lower price.
Yeah.
And if it comes down and hits that price, then your order could be filled and you can get better value for setting that limit order. Now, the problem, like Corey said, or one of the problems is that the guys with larger limit orders are the ones that get filled first. And so you want to make sure that if you're doing that, you're aware of that. Also, Matcha, the thing that's really infuriating to me about Matcha is the longest you can set an order for, I think it's only 7 days.
I don't like that either, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have to go in there and redo it every single week, and I just want to set it and forget it sometimes. I mean, I would like the feature of like, let's set this limit order, I don't know, maybe for 6 months or a year. And as long as I have the optionality to go in there and cancel the limit order whenever I want with a small little gas fee, what's wrong with that, right? That would be okay. I'm going to know whether or not if the market's moving up or down and I want to cancel it, but who knows? Maybe like a month, later it catches, and I didn't have to think about it for that whole time, especially for people who are really busy, and they got normal jobs or whatever they got going on. I mean, I'm unfortunate enough where I do watch the charts a lot, and I'm involved in crypto just about full time. So it's like, but for most people, they're not like that. And they need that optionalities. It's nice to have that in DeFi because that's the one thing with these centralized exchanges, they offer that for you as a service. And it's like people like using that because limit order is a great feature. So we need to see more of that inside the crypto space. Now, if people learn how to do liquidity the right way, you can set limit orders with liquidity providing. That's another way too, but then that takes a little research and a little bit of a due diligence how to do that. And it's not overly difficult if you dive into it, but that's another way you can create limit orders through Uniswap at that point. You can create some limit orders on both sides.
Right. Absolutely. That's a great point. Now, Matcha is useful. It's a tool that most of our content, Corey and I are both here in the United States. And so we're talking about tools that you could use in the United States. Matcha is available to U.S. residents. There's a tool that I really like called 1inch, where you can set limit orders out for, I think it's clear up to a year.
Wow.
It's only available in certain geographic regions. And so you could go and test that out and, see if it's available in your geographic region, which brings me to the next tool that is a very useful one because you can use tools because you can use things in different geographic regions by using a VPN. So a VPN is really cool because essentially the way that a VPN works is you can route your internet traffic through different servers in different geographic regions. And so as such, it can appear like you're in a different place than where you are. And that can be very useful to be able to use tools. And I'm not suggesting someone do this. I'm not saying that I do or that I have. That being said, you could go and change your geographic region to another country where different tools like 1inch, for instance, are supported. and use said tools. Now, do that at your own risk. I'm not going to talk about that in great depth here.
What's your favorite VPN?
We like Nord. Me and Corey both use Nord. NordVPN is excellent. In fact, I'll go ahead and post in the comments. I've got a link to Nord that's cool. I like Nord a lot. I've had very little issues with it. The other thing that I like a lot about NordVPN is it is within, what's it called? If you know this term, feel free to correct me, Corey, or if you guys do, feel free to correct me in the comments. But there's this organization called, what's it called? It's like the 8 Eyes or something like that, where there's some of these VPN providers that are within this like group or realm. And essentially it's indicative of indicating that they're not sharing information with any outside sources. And that's really important when you're selecting a VPN. That's one of the purposes of using a VPN, so that you can route your internet traffic, and it provides more anonymity and security by doing that. And so you want to make sure that anytime you're using a VPN, that it's a provider that's within this realm. I'll have to go and look up the term later, but I'll post the in the comments. I'll post the link that you can use to go sign up for NordVPN. It's only like a few dollars a month, and I use it not only for crypto, but I use it on like my home and my work computer and all that type of stuff to just keep me more anonymous and a little bit more safe.
Yeah, and you can turn it on and off as you please once you download it. It's like if you feel like you don't want to have it on, for a certain amount of time, you can do that very easily. It's a very easy tool to use, I guess you'd say. It doesn't take a lot of knowledge. It's you just turn it off and on.
It's easy to set up. You can download it and you're off to the races. Really easy. And like I said, very cheap for the additional.
Worth a few dollars. Yeah, it's just a few dollars. It's not much at all. It's like
literally, I think it's less than 10. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, less than $10 a month. And you can use it on multiple devices. So really recommend that. Really have enjoyed that. The next tool, let's talk about hardware wallets.
Oh boy, here we go. We're gonna have a debate.
Yeah, let's have a debate. so I like the Ledger brand. Corey likes the Trezor brand. It doesn't, in my opinion, and if you have a different one, Corey, feel free to say it, but it doesn't really matter which one you use. It's more of a preference thing. They both are, for all intents and purposes, pretty secure. Now, Corey, why would somebody use a hardware wallet?
So you want to use a hardware wallet. What it essentially does is it stores your keys off of the internet, off of the computer, off of the blockchain. The keys are inside the hardware wallet. Now your crypto lives in the blockchain. It's on chain. So like your crypto is not in there, but your keys is what's important. And so like using just MetaMask, which is just a soft wallet, what we call it, your keys are stored inside the MetaMask, inside the internet, and on your browser.
Yeah.
And so
you literally expose it on your browser when you're setting up the wallet.
You're exposed. So that's one reason why, right? So you want to make sure your keys are in your own custodian. You're your own bank now, and you got to be responsible as such. And so let's hold our own keys in our own hand. I mean, literally hold your own keys in your own hand. I have my, crypto computer here with my Trezor right here. So I have my keys in my hand here. It's not on my MetaMask. So another great feature about the hardware wallet, besides storing your keys off of the computer and internet, is that you have to approve all transactions via inside the hardware wallet instead of somebody going there, and if they hacked into your MetaMask, they can go in there and they can approve transactions right out of your MetaMask or whatever. Well, I have to have the physical device to approve the transaction that I'm trying to interact with the blockchain with. And you can even take it a little bit layer deeper is when you interacting with a smart contract. And if you just educate yourself a little bit about what to read on the hardware device, you can read through it and it will tell you if you're going to get, like, for example, giving a contract a unlimited spin to your USDC or something, which you wouldn't want to ever be able to do that, I don't think. But because it could be a scam. but it gives that functionality. So it's now I'm double checking the interaction with the smart contract that I'm doing. It's given me off chain or off the internet, where I have to prove it somewhere else besides on the computer, and so that just adds an extreme layer of security. You couple that with the keys being stored off of the online and off the internet, and they're in my hand, and that just offers, maybe nothing's ever 100%. Maybe like a 98, 99% though we can get to, but like the only time people really get scammed when interacting with the hardware wallets is just user area. I mean, you could have a tank, but if you drive the tank into the, right in the middle of where all the bombs are going off, I mean, you could probably give a better analogy to me, but you're not going to get the protection you need. The user is still the one driving the tank, and he needs to be making sure that he's, not opening the hatch and letting the bomb come in, I guess you would say.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah. So it's still you have to act as, very responsible with the hardware wallet, but I sleep much better at night knowing that my keys are in my own custodian, right? I hold them, and I have different hardware wallets, and we could talk about this. I have one hardware wallet where it's called my hot hardware wallet.
Really quick before you do, let's do just a quick summary, and then we'll get into some more of the specifics of the hardware wallet, if that's all right with you.
That works.
Cool. So this is one of mine. Corey and I both have a bunch. This is my Ledger hardware wallet. I have to come and put in my code here to interact with it. It just flips out this little metal jacket. It looks like a USB drive. It's super easy to use. And like Corey said, when he says your keys are kind of like your master password to your crypto wallet. In fact, if you lose this device or you lose access to your computer that your MetaMask was on, or they're stolen or broken or whatever, as long as you have your seed phrase, which once again is kind of like your master password to access your wallet, well, then you're all right. If you lose that stuff, break it, as long as you have your seed words. If you lose your stuff or you break it and you lose your seed words, well, then your crypto will be stuck on the blockchain and you won't be able to access it. Now, I've seen a couple of videos where people go and try to hack these hardware devices. And apparently some of these videos indicate that they've been successful. So if you lose one of these hardware devices, if you have one and you lose it, I would heavily recommend treating it as compromised and move your crypto over to a different hardware wallet that's secured by different seed words.
Yeah.
Now that seems very rare and unlikely that occurs, but it's always to be better safe than sorry. And so specifically when Corey was talking about your seed words, once again, like your master password, when you go and you install MetaMask, for instance, or you install Trust Wallet or one of these hot wallets, they're going to show your seed words on your computer screen. And a lot of the people make a mistake of like taking a picture of it or copy and pasting it, putting it in a password manager or things of that nature. And you put yourself at risk because you're storing those seed words digitally. So a hacker can obtain access to them. The cool thing with these hardware wallets is whether it be Corey's Trezor or my Ledger, that seed phrase is only shown on these devices. And these devices are not connecting to, a digital place where somebody could come and obtain access to them. And so if they get access to, for instance, your MetaMask, and MetaMask is cool, it's just a software that you can use to interact between the blockchain and various blockchain websites. It also has a wallet, has a few different features, but we use MetaMask specifically as a software interface to be able to interface between different things on the blockchain. You can connect your hardware wallet to keep yourself safe. And once again, the seed words are never shown in a digital place for your hardware wallets. And so you want to take those, me and Corey inscribe or smash ours into metal so that if there's a fire or flood, God forbid, that those are not destroyed. Or you could go ahead and write it on a few different pieces of paper and put them in secure places. A really good way is to be able to break them up. And so, for instance, I would never write my seed words on a piece of paper and store them at a security deposit box at a bank, because the bank has access to that. They can go and pop it open and go find your seed words. Yeah. But you could do a form of like sharding if you really wanted to be more safe about it and do it via paper. You could do half your seed word, put it on a piece of paper, store it at a safety deposit box at one bank location, and then go to a totally different bank and do the other half at a different bank. I know the Winklevoss twins, I think they broke theirs up into thirds and they put them in different banks across the country. So if you want to be super secure about it and use paper, there's an option for you. So there's hardware wallets. There's also an option to do hidden wallets, which Corey was just about to talk about. Go ahead and talk about that,
So
Corey.
let's talk about hidden wallets and multiple wallets too. So the next layer beyond the hardware wallet is I recommend having yourself a hot wallet, hardware wallet, where you do 95% of your interaction with the blockchain. And that is the one I just showed you guys. I have this hot wallet. This is my guy who I buying and selling. I am, minting NFTs, whatever it may be. Like, it's the majority of my interaction in transactions on the blockchain is with this wallet. Then I have what's called vault wallets. Vault wallets are wallets that hardly ever touch the blockchain, and they're just used for storage. And the only reason why they might touch the blockchain is because, for example, like Hex, if I wanted to do a native stake for, like, say a nice market cycle stake out for 3 years, well, that thing is, if I do it natively, it can't be moved. Unlike an HSI stake where I can create it and move it to, it's an NFT, so you can move it between wallets. But the native stake is stuck. It is married to your wallet. So that is the only time my vault wallet might touch the internet to create that native stake. And then it's out of the internet and it's not going to touch it until I have to, maybe end that stake or create another one or such. But other than that, it doesn't do much interaction. Because I just want less surface attack. I want less exposure to those vaults, because those are going to be those in my, it's a mindset thing. Those for me are my long-term holdings, where this stuff could be in and out a lot more quickly. Maybe if I am doing a little buy the rumor, sell the news type event, that's done on this wallet. So that's one thing. And I have multiple vaults. I have, I think I have 8 now.
So give an example, Corey. So here's my question, because you and I have talked about this a little bit. In fact, I wanted to dig into this a little bit more and pick your brain on it. So we have lots of projects that we're in. We have Hex, we have Icosa, we have Hedron, Pulse Bitcoin, we have Zen. I mean, there's
Yeah.
tons of different projects, and almost all of them involve interacting with the blockchain via staking. They earn passive income. And so what does that look like? What is the process? Give me an example, because if you're staking, you're going to be touching the blockchain with your hardware wallet. And so give an example. Let's say that you're wearing your Pulse Bitcoin shirt today. Let's say that you're going to go and buy the ASIC token that mines the Pulse Bitcoin. What does that look like from your main wallet to your vault wallets? How does that all look?
So since I'm interacting with a blockchain on a monthly with Pulse Bitcoin, what I'm doing is I'm mining it with my hot wallet, my hot hardware wallet. It's just never in my MetaMask. I know most people, when they refer to a hot wallet, they refer to MetaMask. MetaMask is not a wallet to me at all. It's just a dumb pipe. That's a dumb pipe. It's like the goggles I got to put on my Trezors to view the blockchain with. That's all it's for. But my hot wallet will do the mining because it is 30-day interactions. But when that Pulse Bitcoin comes out, it gets shipped out to my vaults.
Okay.
Because those are long-term holdings for me. I don't plan on selling any Pulse Bitcoin for a while. And so I send it out to my my vaults. But I'm not using my vaults to do the 30-day because it's so much interaction. Now, if there was like a yearly type interaction, like in Icosa, then I'll do that from the vault because it's not a lot of interaction with the blockchain. So it's kind of up
Well,
to
like time frames almost that you're working on.
Yeah, it's up to you to set your own parameters and limits. I just felt like with Pulse Bitcoin being so active on the monthly, it's better done out of my hot, and then I can transfer any of those holdings over, my yield, over to the vaults. And so that's how I'm doing that one. But my Watsas, my Icosa stakes, Hedron stakes, those are all my vaults. Even though some of them are 6 months, some of them are 8 months, and I think there might be 1 or 2 that's a year. I'm not sure. I got to go back and look. But they're all my vault. Those aren't in my hot wallet because I knew that those are more of a long term. And then all my hex stakes, those are all my vaults. Those are not in the hot wallet. Although, like I said, you could create some HSI stakes out of your hot wallet, and then you could ship them over to your vault. But even like for the Zen, I'm minting these Zen NFTs. And the Zen NFTs right now, I'm doing pretty much max term, maybe minus a few days to try to land it on a Saturday or Sunday. And so I'm minting these NFTs. And then once the NFTs minted in my hot wallet, it gets shipped out to my vault. I'm sitting in my vault because it's like 420 days right now or 440 days, which for me, I mean, that's a year and like 2 months, year and 3 months, or maybe a little more. And it's a while out. It's a while ways out there. So I have no need to have that in my hot wallet. There's just no need for it sitting there. Every time I interact with the blockchain, that's, there's some a little bit of exposure there to that wallet, and that's just going along for the ride. It's in there. It's in the wallet going along for the ride every time I do something. Why does it need to go along for the ride? It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't need to go along with the ride. So it gets shipped out to the vaults.
Okay. No, that's great. Let's go to some of the comments here. We got some additional people in. Ruben's in. Hey, appreciate you jumping on, Ruben. I'm lost on this. So I'm finally putting the time in to learn. Hey, man, like seriously, you're in the right place at the right time. Now is the time to be learning. You learn in the bear market. You build your positions in your portfolio in the bear market so you can be ready to rock when the bull comes. So welcome. We're glad to have you on. Tin Top's on. Tin Top's
what up, Tin Top?
One of our common people on. What's up, Tin Top? Harmonic Hexagon has an excellent point. She says, I've heard the physical hard wallet only lasts 5 to 7 years, so it may be good to be aware of how to transfer to a new wallet.
Yeah, practice it.
That's a great point.
Practice it. I even have a spare blank hardware wallet, one of the cheap ones, just in case, I were to lose or break one of the ones that I do. I am using on a daily basis or whatever. That way I can transfer the keys quickly without having to wait in 3 to 5 days from Trezor to receive it. So I have a blank one just sitting in my safe. But yeah, practice importing keys over into a new blank wallet and seeing your crypto transfer over and everything, practice it. It's good practice anyways. In fact, I even have my wife practice it because God forbid, something happened to me one day and she's around with my daughter, but I want her to know like how to insert keys into a device to retrieve the holdings I have in there. And so I even have her practice it. And
my plan is to have my wife just call you if something happens to me. You can help her.
That's not a bad plan either. You can be like, hey, you got a couple buddies who are very proficient on the blockchain. And unless we're all on the plane together and something happens, that could be a problem. I mean, that's a good plan too. But yeah, I mean, practice transferring wallets. You're right. Typically, they only last 5 to 7 years. And there's always newer versions coming out, better versions, and you might want the newer and shiny toy, and you can practice, moving your keys over. And so, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I like to live by the idea of like, I think it's a biblical term. If you're prepared, you shall not fear. And so I took that to heart absolutely with crypto. And when I was setting up my hardware wallets for the first time, I acted as if. So I set it up. I wrote down my seed phrase. I checked it 5 times to make my seed phrases. I wrote it down correctly. And then after I imported it, I went and I deleted it off my computer as if like something happened to my computer and I had to start fresh on a new one. I was like, okay, how do I import this? Let's make sure that I could do it correctly. I understood how the whole thing worked. And I did that a few times because gosh, like when we're building crypto positions, I want to treat it as if it's already worth millions of dollars because it has the potential to become that one day. And so I want to act as if it's already worth that, understand how to operate correctly. So I think that's a great point, Corey. Do a lot of testing.
Love it.
Tin Top, what's up, man? Glad to have you on. Ruben, why do you need to change wallets? So Ruben, you typically don't need to. The reasons that you would need to change wallets are one, if your wallet's compromised, you're hacked or scammed. For instance, if you never want to interact with fake customer support. It's very common with hardware wallets where somebody will pretend like they're from Ledger or Trezor and they're there to help you. And there's a lot of like urgency that there's been this big problem and we've got to hurry and update your wallet. That's always a scam. You will never have somebody reach out from customer support from pretty well anything in crypto. And so if that happens and you give them access to your wallet and you realize you're part of a scam, well, maybe you could catch it quick enough and move your crypto. So that's an example. And then the other one, like Corey said, if you have your wallet that you're primarily interacting in the short term with the blockchain, you can move your stuff once you've bought it to your longer term wallets that are interacting less with the blockchain. So that God forbid, if your main one that you're using, you went and you connect to a bad site or a bad dApp, or you buy a bad token that is a scam, that wallet could be compromised. But if most of your stuff that you're holding long term is elsewhere, well, it won't be compromised because it wasn't part of that wallet. So there's a few examples.
That's a great example, and and it's almost like a mindset thing you got to put in your place. Where you're like, where the hot wallet's like literally like the wallet you carry around in your pocket. This is the one I'm going to go around and pull cash out and pay for goods and services. And then I got the bank that has like the savings account where I put money in. You know, you need to access it sometimes, but it's a lot less than accessing this guy. And
That's
so you don't want to keep. I don't want to be carrying around $1 million in here, but if I had $1 million, and it's going to go in the bank, and I'm not going to carry that around. And that's the mindset you need to have with crypto. You need a wallet that you're going to go around and do your transactions with, and doing your everyday, whatever you're doing, buying, selling, creating NFTs, all that good stuff. And then you got your vaults, you know, and they're going to have a lot less exposure to the blockchain. They're just going to be sitting and chilling. And some people take it a step further, and the real long-term holdings they have, they destroy the wallets and only keep the seed phrase. And that's called cold storage, completely dry cold storage. The only way you can pull that crypto back out is by entering the seed phrase into another device and then retrieving those assets. But then at that point, when you destroy the wallet, you know, there's no way a scammer and hacker could get into that those holdings, because before, maybe if they got the hardware device, like you alluded earlier, that, you know, some people have gotten kind of good at hacking them, although it's very difficult and it takes like a day to do it, from what I've heard. But they need the physical device. But they get rid of the physical. If you want like maybe a 15-year hex face that you want to give to your kids, that could be a good way to do that. You create some 15-year hex stakes inside a cold wallet, or a hard, you know, you can do it actually on, I would do it on, no, you would want to do it on a, like a Trezor or Ledger, because the keys would be created on the device. Then you would destroy the device or wipe the device. You can wipe it. You don't need to break it. You can wipe it. And then those keys they're out, and, you know, on the blockchain, and that's it. And no one has them, and you can't, unless you enter into another device again. So it's a great way for very long-term storage.
That's a good point.
And then another thing to touch on is, we didn't touch on it yet, is passphrases. And passphrases is just another layer. It's actually the 25th seed phrase that you create yourself. And it's not even stored on the Trezor or Ledger. It is not stored anywhere. You're the only one that ever came up with this, so it can never be retrieved. So it just adds another layer of security. If someone broke into the device, hacked the device, they would still need your 25th seed phrase or the passphrase to get into your holdings. And that's what I really like about it, because it's just that now if we're at 98% or 99% secure with our Trezor, now we just went 99.9% or whatever it may be. You just add that extra layer that, you know, a hacker would only have to, would have a hack into the device with your seed phrase, and now he's got to know the passphrase. The only way he's able to get that, he can't hack it out of anywhere. He has to get out of you. So obviously, maybe he has a gun to your head or something crazy like that, it can be done. But that's why I really love. I use passphrases in all my long-term holding devices. Now my hot wallet that I interact with the blockchain every day, I don't have a passphrase of that one because I'm using it so much. And yeah,
I like that. Tin Top. I thought it'd be a good idea to tattoo half my seed phrase on the sole of each foot. I got 1.5 words in and couldn't take it. It was a late night drunk idea.
Can you post pictures on Twitter?
That's good. However, someone like you're laying on the beach, I could just imagine someone come along, got a picture, and I'll go and take your.
Right. That's all you need is a C phrase.
What kind of computer do you need for this?
This is a good one. And guys, most of the stuff I'm talking about, I learned from a guy named Papa Boner, who's in the Hatzikin community. He's basically our security personnel in our community. The guy is amazing. He's just, but so what kind of computer? So you want to get a computer that was not manufactured in China. That is the main key, because for some reason there's something about the Chinese processors that they can be, I don't know, there's a security risk there. And I don't remember what it is, but Papa Boner is the one that had taught me that. The best computers that I'm aware of are HPs. HPs are great. Great computers, and you don't need an expensive one, like a $400, $500. It just needs to be able to work. It needs to be able to have like Windows 10 or better. So HPs are good. Asus are good. This is an Asus laptop. This one was a little bit more. It was like $800 or $900 because it has the feature of like, you know, a tablet. I can go back. It's touch screen, and even though I rather use it like that, but it has. You know, it's a good laptop. So like $800 or $900. MacBooks are good too. You can do a MacBook, but MacBooks are obviously a little bit more money. I would say your cheapest routes are usually the HPs. And like I said, you don't need nothing fancy.
That's what I do. I'm a Mac guy, so I've got a Mac. That's my
Macs are great.
Computer. I just got the cheapest MacBook Air at my local Apple store. You can order one at apple.com. It's about $1,000, and it's been totally sufficient.
Yep, those work amazing for your crypto. But the one thing to keep in mind, Ruben, whatever laptop you pick for your crypto, now that needs to be only used strictly for crypto. No more answering emails in there. No more doing your daily work in there. No more surfing the internet just for fun. No porn, obviously.
No porn.
You don't want to do
none of that stuff.
Nothing on that computer except the one thing, and that is going and interacting with the blockchain. And you want to even take it a step later. When you find a dApp that you're interacting with and you know it's safe, you want to bookmark that and save your most common dApps that you're visiting on a daily or maybe it's a weekly basis. You have them bookmarked. And that way, you know exactly where you're going to go, and you're not just going surfing around on different, websites trying to find stuff. But it's strictly for crypto only. So once again, it's another mindset.
Give them an example of our friend that
we had a friend
not using a bookmark website and ran into trouble.
And this was simply he went to try to go to Uniswap, and that's one of the most common sites that we know of. We talked about it earlier in the show. For DeFi of swapping between tokens. It's a great site. And I love Uniswap. It's probably the premier DEX on Ethereum blockchain. But he went to Uniswap, what he thought was Uniswap, because he Googled Uniswap. And when he Googled it, the search came up and he picked the top one in the search thinking that was going to be Uniswap, but it was actually a scam site that somebody was using, I guess, PPC or something, or somehow they ranked it above the actual Uniswap site. He clicked on it. It was one character off on the URL, but it had the front end of Uniswap. It looked clean. It looked like Uniswap. He went in, connected his wallet, and he was swapping Ethereum for the Ohm token. Ohm token was kind of big back a year and a half ago. I'm not sure where it's at now, but regardless, he was swapping from Ethereum to Ohm. He did the swap, and it was about 60 grand worth, guys. 60K worth of Ethereum going into the Ohm token. When he did the swap, he realized he didn't receive the Ohm token back in his wallet. And he's like, what the heck? Where's my Ohm token? I just put 60 grand of Ethereum in here. Well, he got hacked. It was a hacker site. It was he got rinsed of it, whatever you want to call it. But it was like, yeah, that's just a lesson learned. You need to be very careful interacting with the blockchain. When you're on a URL, I will literally double and triple check a URL. Or if I'm working with one of the guys, one of my, that we're in the group, we have a group that we run that we help educate people how to do safe crypto. And we man, when I'm working with somebody, I'm like, can you please read me the URL? Okay,
Yes.
now I'm gonna double check it. I'll go, okay, just make sure you're in the right spot. If it's saying something weird when you connect your wallet, what is it saying? Why is this? Is it asking you to authorize a token spend or something? Like you'll see weird scams like that, and so you got to be cognizant and careful. I mean, this is the wild, wild west of finance, guys. There's no regulation here, and it is crazy. It's scams everywhere, and they're coming out new creative ways all the time to try to get your money. And scammers are smart. They're very smart. So yeah, that was a rant. Papa B, yes, Papa B is absolutely amazing. Papa B mentioned the physical devices don't last forever. Yes, they don't last forever. And actually, it's funny because the more expensive ones have a lower life cycle than the cheap ones. Like in Trezor, you have the Trezor 1, and then you have the Trezor T. I love the Trezor T's because it's a touch screen. I love touch screen, but the fact that you have the interface like that, it has the likelihood of not lasting as long and breaking versus the Trezor 1, which is just a basic hardware device. It has a little digital screen, but I mean, it's a very simple, device. So, but I mean, just get good at swapping them out. That's it, and always keep them updated. The software, they're always updating because if they find scams in their system, they push out software updates via when you connect, not through an email. A lot of times,
Never an email.
Scams will send you an email. Hey, update your Trezor device here, and want you to like interact with their whatever they're going to point you to. It will literally update itself. You'll plug it in the computer. You'll go to interact with the blockchain, and it'll be right there inside the Trezor update. Needed. Boom. You click it. You'll do something with the device, and it updates it inside.
Ledger's the same. You do it via Ledger Live, which is an app you download on your computer. That's the only place that you'll get updates. You will not get updates via fake customer service or a scam email. That's the only place you'll get updates for your hardware wallet. We've got 5 minutes left, so let's try to go through the comments relatively quickly. We'll see how far we can get, and yeah, that would be good. Simon asks, is it worthwhile minting Hedron for 90-day rolling stakes?
Yes, if that's the way you want to play the game. Yes, it's worthwhile.
He's saying minting it though. Are you minting?
Oh, wait, you mean
the
like
amount that you can mint on a hex stake is so little? I would say no. I had $50,000 worth of a hex stake that came due. I got a million and a half Hedron. It was worth $3, like, and the gas cost more to get it out there than the Hedron.
Yeah, I was thinking like for some reason the ICOSA and rolling those out in different wallets and those types
so
of
like creating different wallets and staking Hedron for 90-day increments and splitting it up that way.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's great.
That's worth it because then you can do what's called the waterfall strategy. You could pull out the ICOSA out of those 90-day stakes, and then add the ICOSA into the ICOSA staking protocol, and then now you're building up that yield, and which will generate you more ICOSA and more Hedron. And so that's where I was thinking. But yeah, minting out of Hex, unless you got a crap ton of T shares and you have the volume multiplier on there, which is giving you a lot of Hedron, it could be worth it doing every 90 days to get that extra yield, just depending on, I don't know what your portfolio looks like.
Yeah. Manage them well, though, because if you're not paying those back, then you'll get liquidated. Your stakes will go to auctions.
Well, that would be advancing. That would be advancing.
Yeah, good point.
That's
advancing, not minting.
Advancing versus minting. Yeah. Advancing, yes, be very careful. And I don't think we're anywhere close where it makes sense to advance because the collateral that you're putting at risk versus the advance is not worth it. Any stress. We're not even close. I'm hoping we will get there when we get closer to the next bull run.
For sure. Getting the family playing with hardware wallets, that's excellent. I would recommend, if you guys don't have hardware wallets, like this is the next step. Like, do this ASAP. Get all of your crypto onto a hardware wallet. We know multiple people. In fact, I have one of our guys in our group that just didn't follow along, he was complacent, didn't move his stuff over to his hardware wallet. He called me the other day and said, Dane, where'd my crypto go? And I was like, oh shit, let's go.
Your
And
stomach
look,
just goes.
yeah, and it's gone. It's gone. It was taken. And I'm like, bro, why didn't you follow the steps to get this all set up? And he's like, well, I was going to. Well, don't let that be you. Go and get that set up. Order your hardware wallets. I posted the link for the ledgers up above. Corey, if you want to post the link to get a Trezor, if you have a
Oh
link,
I'll post it in
that
here.
the comments. You guys, once again, it's just a matter of preference thing. So go grab one of those. In fact, I recommend two. Get two, one that you'll interact with, one is a backup. So if that one gets broke or lost or stolen, you're ready to rock.
Or buy more so you can have bolts.
Yep.
I love the bolt system.
They're not playing with the hardware wallets that have our major fund on. Yeah, yeah. Make sure you understand before you're putting lots of money at risk. But make sure, I'm telling you, get a hardware wallet. You want one of those and learn how to use it. That's awesome.
Yes,
Gives peace of mind. Absolutely. Human Hex Trafficker. That's a good one. What up, fam? I recommend watching yesterday's stream. Great show. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are interested in PulseX and the potential yield that we can see from there and extrapolating out the numbers, check out that stream with PulseStream. That was awesome. I couldn't be more excited for PulseX.
Absolutely.
What do you think about setting up alerts on Etherscan? Do you do this, Corey? I haven't done this. I feel like this is a tip of the spear thing that you certainly could do, but I feel like it's less necessary if you don't want to do it. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I've never done it before.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've never done it before. And what's the alerts for? Like if something gets moved or something, can you elaborate a little bit more?
Harmonic Hexakin.
Harmonic Hexakin, yeah. What the alerts do. Yep.
Cool. I used to store hardware, your hardware wallet at the bank to just hold there for 4 to 5 years until I reread the T&Cs. They have no responsibility for the safety deposit box content and have no insurance that covers my box.
Correct.
Exactly. So you want to be careful about using a safety deposit box. Honestly, I think you'd probably be better like hiding it somewhere or burying it somewhere, something like that only you're aware of. But make sure too, like God forbid something happens to you, make sure that you have a plan in place that your loved ones could access your stuff so that it's not forever just lost on the blockchain. Self-custody is the way forward for sure. Be your own bank. Absolutely. MacBook Pro, absolutely. Yep. MacBook works out great. Once again, you don't need to go and spend a wad. The MacBook Pros are much more expensive than the.
But maybe he's got an extra one laying around the house.
Yeah, but if you got an extra one laying around, wipe
factory reset it, clean, and then do it.
Yep. Got a new fan. Ruben says, "What's up, Corey? I need to pick your brain. Tell Pancho what up."
Yep.
Do you know Ruben?
I do. Yeah. He's here locally.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. What are 5 tools you must have to start? I'm green. I'm sorry. Cool. Well, let's go back through those. So this is all your basic setup stuff. So you're going to need your hardware wallet. At least we recommend at least 2 to get started. You'll want more later on. Hardware wallet, crypto only computer. You're going to need a VPN on that computer. You're going to need MetaMask on that computer, and then Google Chrome to be able to interact with the blockchain. So that's where I would start. Those are the 5 things that I would get today if you don't have them to be able to get started and set up properly. Cool. And then Harmonic Hexakin notifies you of any activity on your address. Oh, interesting. We'll have to go dig into that more. I haven't used that feature.
I like that.
I'll have to go dig into that. That's a great idea.
We're learning something new. I love it.
Yeah, seriously. Appreciate that, Harmonic Hexakin. Cool. Well, appreciate you guys being on today. We've got to jump off. Hope you have an excellent weekend. Let your friends know. We appreciate you guys commenting, subscribe to the channel. And once again, if you like this content and you want to consider being part of our group, then send us a message, comment on this video, and we love to chat with you to see if it's a fit. With that, have a great weekend.
See you.